All right, welcome back to Code Cognition. Today, we're diving deep into AMC's third quarter 2025 earnings results. And let me tell you, this was a big one. It's a report that really got Wall Street talking, and you can bet every investor out there was watching this one like a hawk.
Okay, so here's the game plan for today. We're going to kick things off with how AMC absolutely smashed expectations. Then, we'll get into how they're showing incredible strength even when the industry's in a bit of a slump. After that, we'll look at some record-breaking numbers per visitor, see how they're getting that balance sheet stronger, and then, of course, take a peek into the future. Ready to jump in?
All right, let's start with the big one, the headline numbers that really caught Wall Street off guard and pretty much set the tone for this entire earnings call.
You know, CEO Adam Aron did not hold back. Right from the get-go, he framed this quarter as yet another win, a direct hit against all the doubt and negativity that's been swirling around the company for so long.
And you know what? The numbers absolutely back him up. For another quarter in a row, AMC didn't just meet expectations, they blew right past them. That sends a powerful message for sure.
First up, let's talk revenue. A solid $1.3 billion. That's not just a good number. It comfortably sailed past what the analysts were predicting.
And this next number, this really speaks to their operational strength. We're talking about adjusted EBITDA, which is a really key way to look at a company's core profitability. It came in at a whopping $122 million. Again, way ahead of what anyone was forecasting.
Okay, but here's what makes these numbers so impressive. It's the context. You have to understand AMC pulled this off not in some booming, easy market. No, it was actually the complete opposite.
So get this, the entire North American box office, it was down 11%. A pretty steep drop, but AMC's revenue, it only dipped by about 3.9%. That's a huge difference. So the big question is, how on earth did they manage that?
Simple. They took a much bigger piece of the pie. AMC grew its U.S. market share to a massive 27%. Now, to really let that sink in, that means AMC is now about 50% larger than its two closest competitors combined. That is just, wow, that's dominance.
So it's one thing to get people in the door, right? But the real magic is in maximizing how much you make from every single person who buys a ticket. And that's exactly what we're going to look at next.
Let's start with the tickets themselves. On average, they brought in $12.25 per person. And that isn't just a strong number. That is an all-time company record, the highest ever.
And then you look at the concession stand, and it's the same story. $7.74 in food and beverage revenue for every single person. I mean, think about that for a second. In the company's entire 105-year history, that is the second highest number they have ever posted. Incredible.
But this is the number that ties it all together. The contribution margin. That's basically the actual profit they make from each moviegoer, is now up an unbelievable 54% compared to back in 2019. What this tells you is that AMC is a way leaner and more efficient machine now than it was before the pandemic.
Okay, so when you're operating that efficiently, it has a massive ripple effect, and you see it right where it counts, the balance sheet. Let's take a look at the incredible progress they've made on shoring up their finances.
Since the start of 2022, management has been on a mission. They've aggressively tackled the company's debt, and they've managed to slash the principal value of their debt and other liabilities by a staggering $1.5 billion.
And here's the kicker, to really put that into perspective for you. After all those years of just fighting to survive, AMC's debt levels today are actually lower than they were before the pandemic even started. That is a truly monumental turnaround for this company.
And Adam Aron, he made it a point to give a direct shout-out to the shareholders. He stressed that their support, especially from the retail crowd who've been there through thick and thin, was absolutely critical. He basically said this amazing recovery and the company's survival wouldn't have been possible without them.
So, with that much stronger foundation under their feet, the big question is, what's next? Where does AMC go from here? Well, they're definitely not resting on their laurels. They laid out a really clear and exciting strategy for future growth.
Yeah, management laid out a few key pillars for growth. First, they're becoming their own distributor. You saw that with the Taylor Swift movie, right? They're also pushing hard into live events, expanding their premium screens like IMAX and Dolby, building a whole merchandise business from the ground up, and they're even investing in some really futuristic tech like AI-powered drone shows. They're not just sitting still.
So, you've got a stronger balance sheet, you've got all these new ways to grow,
What this really means is the company is positioning itself to ride a massive wave that they see coming, a huge rebound at the box office.
And look, the outlook for the end of this year is looking incredibly strong. You've got massive blockbusters on the way like Wicked for Good and Avatar Fire and Ash. The company is basically saying they expect this Q4 to be their biggest fourth quarter in 6 years.
And they're not just looking at the next few months. Looking further out, management is really bullish on 2026. They're expecting a dramatic recovery for the entire industry, fueled by a much stronger pipeline of movies coming from the studios.
Which, it leaves us with one last, really powerful question to think about. When you add it all up, the dominant market share, that record-breaking efficiency, the much stronger balance sheet, and all these brand new ways they're making money, you have to ask, is AMC better positioned now than ever before to capitalize on that big industry boom that's expected in 2026? It's a pretty compelling thought to leave you with. Thanks for tuning in.